Hey.
Travis, welcome to Utah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for agreeing to do a short interview. This is just introduce you to.
Well, I've really been in some form of ministry nearly my entire adult life, and even before that, even in my teen years, that transitioned into Christian education a little less than 20 years ago, and it changed my life. I had been in parachurch ministry, I'd been in international missions, I had a short stint as an assistant pastor, and just the opportunity for discipleship that I see happening in Christian schools is like no other form of ministry. Even I think about back when I was working with Youth for Christ, campus life, and then as a youth pastor, I would maybe get 2 hours tops a week with my kids. And it was good ministry, but when I got into the classroom situation, and I've got these kids all day, 5 days a week, and sometimes more, and then getting into administration, just again the opportunity for speaking into their lives, walking through life with them, transformational. Teaching and even admin and subsequently consulting. I've worked as a school consultant as well. That all began in international settings. So we were missionaries. My wife and I were missionaries in Ecuador. Actually, it's where my wife is from. From there, I've led schools, multiple schools there in Ecuador. But then also in Arizona, North Carolina, most recently in rural western New York. So, around North America, but thrilled to be here. I'm a classroom teacher. I was a music ed guy, so vocal teacher in the secondary level, and I was a Bible teacher. So my undergrads is in biblical studies and theology. I started in music ed and then finished in biblical studies and theology. When I finished my master's in education and my doctorate is in school administration, but roles have included, again, classroom teacher, primarily in the secondary level. I was a middle school coordinator, kind of like a vice principal. I was a secondary school principal. I was an academic director, which basically was leading the school K-12 and basically supported the principals. And then I've been a head of school or superintendent in, this will be my 5th campus over the years. I've also been very, very privileged to serve as a mentor to other school leaders and as a consultant for school boards, school administrators, private school owners, and I can't even tell you the number. It's sort of diverse and growing number over the years. That's also been it's been a privilege, but it's also been a learning experience for me. And it's part of what has supported me in my role of leadership of the schools that I'm leading, is being able to see what other schools are doing or have done. It's a great way of, you learn through others' success and mistakes. It helps you lead your own school. I had the opportunity of speaking at a conference here in Salt Lake City this last summer, and this was before our conversations even began. And I remember walking downtown on one of the breaks from the conference, and I'm like, God, you could call me to Salt Lake. I mean, I was just like, and then it was so ironic, the communications that started to come my way from the school subsequent to that. It was like, okay, to see this come to fulfillment is really exciting. I've had the opportunity of, again, working in a variety of settings, so church-owned schools, parent-owned schools, proprietary, really a business model school, and then, of course, nonprofit. And when I looked at the organizational structure and the fit, I kind of knew where my preferences were, even philosophically, about, okay, what does a quality Christian organization look like? But then also what you have to look at and really pray about is fit. Does the school's need fit with my competencies, my skill sets? There may be things that draw you here, like the weather and the climate and the beauty and all that, but really bottom line is it the right fit? And here what I assessed and I hope this doesn't come across as egotistical at all, but I looked at what are the needs of ICS and what am I skilled and passionate to do? Oh, I think there's a really good fit here. It's like, I think by God's grace, I think I can do a lot to help ICS. Develop from one of the board members used the illustration from there's a business bestseller called Good to Great. How do we take ICS from being a good school to a great school? And I think I can help us get that done. Another major factor for our family, Elijah, is we've been we've been missionaries really all of our adult lives. And we've been in many different parts of North America and then in Ecuador. And what we were praying for is we're looking for a place to settle. Our daughter is coming into high school years. And as you may be aware, unfortunately, in the school leadership world, the average tenure is 2 to 3 years. And we're praying, Lord, break that cycle. We want a place that we can invest in. I would love to be here until Jesus calls me home, right? Kind of a thing. Now, that's all in God's hands, and who knows. But what I see here is the potential. Now, this is potentially a really good long-term fit. Tanya is the most brilliant, godliest lady I've ever known. As I mentioned earlier, originally from Ecuador, although she went to college here in the States. We both have dual citizenship, so yo soy ecuatoriano. Actually, in our early years, we thought that was God's plan. I was a missionary to Ecuador, right? And I met Tanya on the mission field, and we thought we were going to be there forever. But Tanya's home was in Quito, Ecuador, and very high elevation. And I started to run into some health issues living at that high altitude, and so we knew, okay, we're going to do something different. But that's kind of how God moved us. But anyway, back to her passions. She is an amazing educator. Phenomenal. And I know I'm biased, but I've watched this lady do amazing things in the classroom. And so it's great to also have someone who has similar passions and skill sets. Although Tanya would primarily, but she's a missionary. Her primary calling and passion is just a love on folks for Jesus, and she does it so well. She's a wonderful cook, as you can tell. I'm a very well-fed man. She provides. We have always. She makes her home a lovely place. She's an incredible hostess, and so our home is always kind of a mecca for folks, and she's a discipler. Just a wonderful. I married up, as they say, and I'm a blessed man. Emma is the joy of our lives, and again, she's coming into her high school years, and she has a real gift and skill for art. And she's funny and she's beautiful. And again, I'm biased, but I've got the smartest and most beautiful kid in the world. Again, just our gratefulness to God for bringing us here, our anticipation and joy at the opportunity, humbled but also excited. And so it's like that humble confidence, right? It's like thank you, Jesus. Let's get at it. And I think also just an important thing, and we can talk at this, I'm sure we'll do some kind of parent meet and greets, but I'm not here to change anything necessarily. I'm not here to I've got some alternative plan for ICS. It really is about seeking the Lord, about how do we continually move ICS to a place of greater ministry fulfillment. But just thrilled to be here to serve and lead as God provides, and watch and see what God will do.
Thank you so much.